Capitol Newsroom tonight, confrontation at the Capitol as lawmakers return for a special session on public safety. Outside and inside, activists rally for gun reform while opponents argue against what they call any Second Amendment infringement. This session is expected to last about 3 days. News 2's Chris O'Brien joins us live from outside the state capitol with a look at this week's agenda inside the Capitol. Chris?
Hey, Bob. The Senate is actually already wrapped up today. They finished about 15 to 20 minutes in. The House, on the other hand, behind me is a little bit of a different story. So what's taken so long in there? Well, they're debating rules. Republicans proposed a new change of rules to essentially make it so that they can silence a member if they are ruled out of order. And as you can naturally understand, Democrats are very, very, very frustrated about it, and they continue to argue behind me.
We're already starting off on the wrong foot. These rules talk about ruling a member out of order and silencing their voices, but my question is, where in the rules can we find a process to hold the Speaker out of order when he misapplies the rules to members? Where in these rules can we rule the Speaker out of order when he shuts off members' microphones so they have to bring a megaphone to the House floor? Where in these rules can we hold the Speaker accountable when he pushes members to the back so we have to walk up to the front of the well? Where in these rules can we hold the Speaker accountable for abusing constitutional rights and misapplying the rules based off of a member's skin color, as opposed to treating every member in this body as an equal member? You can boo, but the truth will be told today.
That's out of order. That's out of order. Next.
This is very simple and straightforward. Don't cause a material disruption. Stay on the topic of the bill. And at the end of the day, don't impugn another member or this body. Stick to the bill. Stick to the policy.
Now, how did we get here? Well, you might remember months ago the Covenant shooting happened. It was very horrific, and it struck Governor Bill Lee in a very, very personal way. He said that people of Tennessee needed to have a chance to have a vote on this. But I caught up with him last week, and that idea has completely faded. So what changed? Lee essentially ran into the buzzsaw that is the Tennessee Republican Party.
A person that has shown that they are a real threat to themselves or to others, that person, that individual should not have access to firearms.
That was Governor Bill Lee on April 11th of this year. But when he released his proclamation for special session, that idea wasn't on there. In fact, no significant gun reform ideas were.
Part of the work is to determine what we think will actually get done, what we think people will come together and agree upon. And we have brought legislation that we believe the General Assembly will agree upon, because I want to get something done.
It begs the question, what happened?
I always tell people this, throw out everything that you've learned in civics in high school, because there is no balance in government. The legislative branch of government is the most powerful branch of government. The people that make the rules dictate the game.
Memphis Democratic Representative Antonio Parkinson is referring to the General Assembly. And in Tennessee, Republicans are in control.
We can change the rules and make the rules anytime we want to make the rules and change the rules. And the governor has to abide by those rules also.
Ultimately, regardless of what the governor wants, the General Assembly has the final say. And because Republicans have a supermajority in the General Assembly, Republicans have the final say.
We have to work together. We have to make sure that we have this honest conversation.
When you say you have to work together, I got to ask you, do they have to work with you?
So that's a good question. Do they have to work with us? I would tell folks many times, if you don't need Democratic votes on a bill, right, if you can just pass it without any Democratic votes, shouldn't you ask yourself this question, is that the best bill for the people of Tennessee?
Should Lee have brought up his gun reform bill and put it to a vote? It depends on who you ask. But it seems clear the General Assembly forced his hand.
We're not going to pass the enhanced orders protections. There's no gun bills that can be passed. So, yeah.
I do not support that piece of legislation. There are a number of reasons for that. I think it has very little, if any, chance of passing. So I view the governor's order protection bill as something that will not be passed during the special session.
Back in April, Lee called for less politics, more policy.
You work together to say, how can we take those emotions and move them in a productive way forward?
So what will pass, right? That's the big question we're all kind of focusing on here. You're going to see things related to mental health reform, some juvenile justice, some school safety reform. And if you see any sort of gun reform, it actually will be opening things up instead of tamping them down. I'll have a little more on that coming up in the 6 o'clock hour right here on News 2. For now, Bob, I'll send it back to you.